planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
Christina Milian, Polly Paul, Stay Cali.
Does he want you? He says he needs you. It's real talking when I make him wait for you. If he really wants you, if he really needs you, really got to have it. Take your time and feel him out. When he's a good boy, I mean a really, really good boy. Why not let him lay with you? 'Cause when you give it to him good, pick it up slow, roll it all around, pick it out like you back row. Pop, pop, pop that thing. I'ma show you how to make it messy.
Welcome in. Happy Thursday. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Yo, when this dropped, I thought Christina Milian was to the moon. I was like, oh, she's ready. Fire video. She looked good. Body was tea. Song was tea. I've always liked Christina Milian. She does her thing. Shout out to her. Listen, we will get into, because you know Andy's always on theme, what Christina Milian has to do with tonight's show in just a moment. Welcome in where you get the latest trending topics and headlines. Of course, everything that is buzzing across social media, right? Giving you your front row seat to the culture. So tonight, the headlines are wild. The details are juicy. And, you know, it's fresh and straight from the source, like we like it. So Christina Milian had story time, like we're going to have tonight, about an R&B moment with a mystery singer slash pop star who's a boss. We'll get into that. We're going to talk about Toni Braxton and Birdman moving like newlyweds on a reality show, but the reality is they've been married. We're going to talk about that. And Michelle Obama is reminding you guys that she is a fully grown woman making her own moves, and she hears you, but she's not playing with you. We're going to get into that. But before we do, of course, we start the evening with some conversation starters. These are things that you need to be aware of, but we're not going to get into the full thing. First up, Big U had his first court appearance on April 8th. He pled not guilty to several charges. As you know, he is a music executive. He has ties to the community here in LA. Why is Andy laughing? And he is being charged with a RICO charge, and it is based on murder, fraud, human trafficking, and a PPP loan scheme, allegedly, all tied to Unique Music. So that is another case that we will keep an eye out on. You know, there are various opinions about why this is happening to him at this particular time. So as things continue to develop with that, we'll get into that. So also, you know, our favorite uncle, Samuel L. Jackson, he's about to drop in a new film. It's going to be directed by Tim Story. It's called Man of War. And in it, Jackson plays a newly retired and long-revered general. And he is returning to his hometown in rural Georgia after the death of his wife to find it in the throes of corruption, gentrification, and racism. So he's using a battle-honed strategy and combat skills to wage all-out war against the town and the billionaire exploiting it. So I'm here for it. Sounds a little like Rebel Ridge with a twist. But, it's Sam. So we're going to see what's popping with it. It's from Paramount. We'll keep you, abreast of the details when it's scheduled to drop. And so I thought this was pretty interesting, and you might already be aware of this, but I wasn't. So I am sharing. We know Roscoe's is a beloved staples in LA, Hollywood, and has been for many, many years, like 35 plus years, right? And it's something that people associate with the West Coast. Has always been that way. Lines out the door, all of that. It's since franchised. They're located all over, right? Well, Cameron, he recently revealed, and I believe he shared this before, but I'm just catching up on it, that his uncle is actually one of the founders of Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, right? And he said that it was founded in 1975 by Herb Hudson, and a Harlem native, and it's Cam's uncle. And his uncle moved from Harlem out here, opened the first one in Long Beach, second one was in West Hollywood. That's when it really took off, when a number 9, is it a number 9? Yeah, number 9 with the waffle was $4.95 back in the day. And now, things are a little different, but the plan is, there's 7 locations here. And the plan, he says, is that they're opening them in Mexico and a couple of other areas. Andy?
They didn't want to open it in Harlem?
Maybe. Cam's family is in boxing. They're in this. There might be a reason why he decided to leave Harlem.
The East Coast always trying to take credit for the West Coast. Huh? That's what it sounds like.
Nah, he said he wasn't taking credit for it, but
Yes, I saw the video.
You saw the video. You thought he was taking credit.
Hell yeah, he was like, man, there's some Harlem dudes. I know it's associated with the West Coast, but it was some Harlem dudes who brought that over there.
West Coast made it poppin'. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into this Christina Milian story. And I mean, if you were smart, you kind of already know who it involves. All that and more on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting. On Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominic DePrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate day 100 since the wildfires flared up. And we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting Town Hall. Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. The first 100 attendees will receive a complimentary air purifier. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Lowe's is the destination for Ego outdoor power equipment this spring. See what's new and exclusive, like the 17-inch string trimmer with Line IQ technology that auto-feeds to save you time, and the 22-inch Select Cut self-propelled mowers with a multi-blade system for precise cutting. Shop Ego Days, happening now during Springfest at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So, look, this is going to be a fun segment, at least for me. I love story time. It's great. Wait, first up, if you're not already doing it, please make sure that you are following us everywhere. KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill. Also, hop into the YouTube chat if you're feeling frisky. There's always a good conversation in there. And of course, if you want to join us on the phone lines, 800-920-1580, give us a call, hop in, and we'll get into it there. But Christina Milian, she was on the R&B Money podcast recently. And, you know, the streets are buzzing about the I Ain't Saying No Names segment. In it, Christina shared a night out with an R&B pop star who's a boss, right? And, you know, it sounds like a fun night, but when we got to the end of the night, I feel like it was classic this particular individual, because obviously the internets, they have already figured out who it is. But if you listen to the story, heck, before she even got to the end, I already felt like I knew who it was. So let's hear what Christina had to say.
How did we end up there? Somehow we end up going with a very popular R&B pop star to a strip club. Is that where we started? How we end up there?
Amen.
Go, Bill. Say it. Just say the beginning of it.
No names.
Jay-Z and Coldplay were playing.
Oh.
They're not in the part of the story, but they were there at the,
Okay.
So we see this, all this, everybody, like all the hottest stars are at this big cosmopolitan, New Year's night thing. And somehow we end up around this other star. She's a female. She's pretty dope. And we all decide somehow we're all going to the strip club. And she's like, come on, let's go. So she's got, the big SUV trucks. We all clamor in. We're stuffed in there like sausages. And she's like, she's a boss, by the way. And she gets us all inside of the car. We get to the strip club. We're at the strip club having a really good time. By then we've had multiple shots. There's people smoking, a little everything. She decides she's done with the strip club. We were going to bring the strip club back to her hotel room.
Yeah.
So everybody gets back in the car. She's really cool, by the way. And we get in the car. We go to her penthouse suite that she has at the hotel. And we're just in awe of all we're watching. And she's such a boss. She's walking around the room. She's got stacks of singles in her pocket. And she hasn't shared it. She brought the strippers back. So these female strippers come back, And so they're shaking their butt everywhere and everything's shaking. And they're naked, but nobody's paying attention to them. They're just like music playing out loud. People are smoking a little weed, you know what I mean? And we're all talking, just having a good time. But the strippers are doing stuff, but they're not getting paid anything. She has the money, but she hasn't, it's in the cut. So eventually the strippers are like, oh my God, they're starting to get bored because no one's paying attention to them. So they go up to this girl and they're like, so-and-so, we're going to leave because, everybody... Billy, you have to tell it. Come on, say it. You have to say what she says, okay? You're going to say it. So we're going to leave because nobody's paying attention to us, and they're holding their clothes in their hand. And she says,
shut the f*** up and dance.
So the big inhale, I assume, was, taking a hit of, legal substance, a little bit of weed, right? A little bit of blunt, maybe, something of that nature. It's Rihanna, right? It is clearly Rihanna. And here are some of the telltale signs, if you haven't heard, of what it's like to party with Rihanna, at least pre-babies. Things might be a little calmer now. She said in an interview that sometimes she can't believe some of the things that she did before, but now she's a mom, she feels a little bit differently about it. But I suspect she and A$AP Rocky still have a great time. But Charlemagne the God told a similar story about partying with Rihanna out here in LA and how she had the fleet of the big SUV trucks and the bodyguards, and they went to some hole in the wall, like local, we don't know, he couldn't remember the name, like not someplace in Hollywood. She took him to some hood stuff and they were in there partying, right? Similar type of vibe. I can't remember what else happened. They started off drinking. She was like, what you guys on tonight? Let's roll out. So who else has a similar story like that is Stephen Hill. He had a night out with Rihanna like that. So I feel like, at least at one point in time, that was her thing. And it sounds like she probably was a good time rolling out and enjoying things. Like some people said, oh, that was rude of her to say. But, listen, it's a night outside with Rhee. And at that time, Rhee was still the clapback queen. So I believe it. Her mouth was vicious. And I love it. Andy?
Let a man make a comment like that. It's a problem.
Absolutely. Yeah, probably.
So why did Rihanna get a pass?
And that's what people are saying. Why did she get a pass for rude behavior, right? I think sometimes, though, presentation has to do with a lot. How you present it, how you say it, delivery, and flat out if people like you or not. Sometimes people give a pass to people they like.
And she's bad girl Riri, so
right,
she can get away with it.
Yeah, she's beautiful. She's a boss, and that is part of her image. Just very in your face and direct. So, I mean, listen, it made for a good story, right?
It was cool.
So
I don't think she's gonna get any backlash. I mean, I'm sure people are making like negative comments or whatnot, but this is not about to hurt her brand or anything.
No, I mean, absolutely not. I think it is absolutely on brand and only adds to why people love her so much. And here's the thing. We are just speculating. It was during an I Ain't Saying No Names segment, and she did not say any names. Although whoever Billy did a great accent and a great job, because you could visually picture that happening, right? You could see it. So shout out to her. Okay, so this one, first off, never in a million years, back in the day, even when Toni Braxton, got on a reality show, never expected Toni Braxton to date a rapper, a producer, a label head of this type, right? Seemed a little rough for, a girl that started off in the gospel community and all of those things. But you know what they say, opposites attract, and there's always the notion or the trope about religious girls that grew up in strict households, PK's kids in general.
Be wilding out.
That is what they say, right?
It's facts.
That the clamps are too hard, so they get a little taste of freedom and they're gone. And so, when we found out Toni Braxton and Birdman were dating, we were like, what? Does she need money? No, I'm just kidding. But we were curious because it seemed a very odd pairing, right? Toni is someone that we consider very classy, very refined. Birdman is from the streets, all three of y'all, but he must have a tender side, at least for Toni. So it turns out that TMZ discovered some fans and confirms what fans have been speculating for years. Toni Braxton and Birdman are married. The two tied the knot April 8th, 2024. But 2 weeks later, Toni filed for divorce, citing that their marriage was irretrievably broken. Not irretrievably broken. The separation date was listed as August 10th, 2 days after they would have gotten married. Right? But in January of this year, Toni dismissed the divorce petition and Birdman signed too. So they are still husband and wife for now, but what's going on there? Kind of sounds a little chaotic.
Curious to know how long they dated before they actually
They've
got
been
married.
dated. Well, they got married last year, but they've been dating for years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, maybe, when did those rumors first start? I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years. Maybe.
Wasn't Toni Braxton was in the reality show, correct?
The Braxton family, yeah, with Tamar and her sisters and her mom and stuff.
Was Birdman not in like one of those episodes?
I mean,
I felt like he was. That's kind of like how I remember. Like I remember
he was on the show. He was on the show as
Okay.
they were in a relationship
Got
and
it.
so forth. That's what I'm saying. It's been a while. The funny thing is that last December, right? Days, I guess, no. If it was last December, they called it off in January. On New Year's Eve, when someone posted that Toni and Birdman got married in a private ceremony in Mexico, Toni posted a post and was like, fake news, they're not married, he's a dear friend, they're both single. So, I mean, even though technically they were legally married at the time, they were separated and probably going through things. But, kind of crazy, right? Why would you get married and then,
makes no sense.
I don't know. But I will say kudos to them for keeping it private, right?
Right.
And keeping it under wraps, which once again, they've been together much longer than that. I forgot. He proposed back in 2018 with $1 million diamond ring.
Okay.
So they've been off and on or something for at least 7 years. So that's a significant amount of time. And yeah.
So then I guess the divorce doesn't really, I guess it's not a shock considering, okay, yeah, we were technically married for 2 weeks or something like that.
They said the separation date was 2 days after they got married, and they filed it 2 weeks later after the wedding.
It probably sounds like there were issues leading up to the marriage. They probably decided to get married for whatever reason. I can't think of it. I don't know if I can't say it's financial, but I mean, 2 days in and then you file for separation.
It's a little quick, no?
Yeah, it's very quick. I'm sure it was Toni who decided to file. Because the statistics say that it's the women,
I mean,
70%.
usually, yeah, because once men decide to do it, they're like, I'm cool. What? I'm going to go through all that. What? I'm going to give up half my, I'm sure they had some type of legal situation drafted to protect their assets or whatever. Maybe that was part of it. Maybe they didn't have that conversation before. And listen, we're speculating.
Yeah, I'll give them kudos. It doesn't seem like a messy situation. You don't hear too much about, the drama aspect of things. So, kudos to them on that regard.
So we love here. So they would still be newlyweds because it hasn't been a year yet since the wedding. And, congratulations to them and enjoy their privacy. Respect their privacy as I discuss the details of what happened. Shout out to them, though. All right. So listen. Michelle Obama, right? She is tired of you guys trying to get in her business and cast false rumors upon her marriage with Barack Obama. Sometimes, and this is real, I think people forget what 8 years as a public figure in the highest office in the land would likely be like. Do you know where your husband got criticized because he wore a tan Easter suit? These are the things, all the stuff that she endured, right? So you would think a little fallback, a little chill, a little relaxation, all of that would be okay, right? Maybe I don't want to have to get dressed up and go to these formal events all of the time. We know in the White House, how many times did we see Michelle Obama in braids? Not many, if ever. And she talked about how she was not scared, but it was something that she didn't really want to do, even though she would have liked to do it. If you've noticed, how's Michelle's hair been as of late? Braids, baby. She's relaxed. She is, feeling a relief from that position. Although you guys tried to force her to run for president or something like that. At any rate, she has a new podcast, and she is addressing all the assumptions that have been sparked by her recent absence from public events with her husband. So when we come forward, we're going to get into Michelle's comments. And again, why can't we give them grace? Why do we expect our public figures at times to be superhuman and superheroes when we know ourselves sometimes we're dragging ourselves through the week to try and make it all pull together? Why do we expect them to do that much more? We'll get into that and more trending topics and headlines on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. News, traffic, and sports is up next.
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. President Trump has signed an order to boost shower water pressure, reversing Obama-Biden era limits. He says it'll make America's showers great again. The move allows more water per nozzle, ending what the White House calls the Obama-Biden, quote, war on water pressure, end quote. Black NFL wide receiver Tyreek Hill's wife, Lakita, has filed for divorce a day after police responded to an assault call at his condo. Hill was not charged and no one was harmed. He reportedly got upset after she accused him of not being involved enough with their daughter. North Carolina's GOP-led Senate has passed a bill to ban DEI programs at public colleges. The bill also requires schools to block policies supporting DEI goals. And Michelle Obama has shut down divorce rumors on Sophia Bush's podcast, saying she's focused on making her own choices and living with intention. You can listen to the whole podcast on iHeartRadio. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Up on the 101, we're looking at you southbound, getting out of Calabasas. Delays from Lost Hills on the breaks and stretches all the way into downtown Los Angeles. Loading up on the 405 in Culver City, northbound leaving the 90. Slow moving ahead all the way to Nordoff in North Hills. And the southbound side, we're seeing delays out of West LA from Santa Monica Boulevard. Delays extend all the way to the 605, just before the 605 at about Palo Verde. Now, we're looking at the 10 eastbound. Delays and stretches out of City Terrace from City Terrace Drive as you continue all the way into Calamasa. And the 60 eastbound slows out of Harupa Valley from Pyrite and stretches to World Logistics Center Parkway.
Every game has its heroes. One of them certainly was Robinson.
And on Tuesday, April 15th at Dodger Stadium versus the Rockies, the first 40,000 fans in attendance will take home a 1955 Jackie Robinson home jersey presented by UCLA Health. For tickets and information, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Magic Johnson made a surprise visit to the Pasadena Boys and Girls Club on Wednesday. The Laker legend's visit was part of an event he co-sponsored with Cigna to highlight his support for victims of the Eaton Canyon fire in January. More than 100 kids in the Pasadena and Altadena area attended the fun-filled event, which included games, food, and prizes. At least 71 of the kids at the event lost their homes in the fire that destroyed property in Pasadena Pasadena and nearby Altadena. In February, Magic joined a rebuilding commission headed by California Governor Gavin Newsom. Magic spoke to the kids and reassured them that their families will have the necessary resources to rebuild. Magic also made it clear that he would not have signed up for Newsom's commission without a strong commitment from Newsom to direct resources to the folks in Altadena. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching
Does this have peanuts?
to waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Somebody told me there'd be trouble at home, 'cause we never talk a lot when we spend time alone. Yeah. So how are we supposed to know if something is wrong? Well, we've got a way to communicate. It keeps
Welcome back in. You were locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Happy birthday to the legend, Babyface. They don't make songs like this anymore. Do men even reference being whipped? I mean, I know back then it wasn't prominent. It was not looked at as a great thing, but it was a great R&B thing, you know, in private.
Well, Babyface ain't writing too many songs nowadays that I'm familiar with, and that's probably the reason why we're not in love anymore.
Didn't he do a duets album? It had like Coco Jones and a couple of other people with like some contemporaries on it.
He got a song with Beyonce.
And
oh, my bad. That's
And no, lies. He wrote SZA's did he write Snooze? He wrote something on SZA's album.
I stand to be corrected then. He's
So
still in the game.
Babyface, but it took, you know, him reaching out because I believe that probably a lot of younger artists, one, might be intimidated working with a Babyface, and two,
do they even know who he is like that?
Or might feel like his sound is a little mature.
That's fair.
For, you know, maybe what they are looking for.
That's fair, but like you said, but Coco Jones is still kind of representing.
And I mean, SZA,
her.
He did work with her, right?
I believe so. Lucky Day. We got some artists out there.
So he's, you know, yeah, there's some love out there, and he's still in the mix. So shout out to him, still putting it down.
Absolutely.
You know, the deal back in the day, what was that in the 80s, early, mid? I don't know. Shoot 'em up movies, Bang Bang Gotcha, him and not Babyface, L.A.
L.A. Reid?
Yeah, L.A. Reid, when they were in a group.
What group was this?
The Deal. They had a
The
song.
Deal. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Excuse me. I was going to try and sing. That's why that cough came out. It was like, please don't. I was going to sing the chorus, and then my body said,
nah,
it's not a good idea. So it was like, I met my baby at the Bang Bang Gotcha Shoot 'em Up movies. It was like under the something like We Fell in Love. It's a classic song. And then and Two Occasions. That's the other song. I Only Think of You on Two Occasions. That's Day and Night. Yeah. They were on Solar Records.
Okay.
So
L.A. Reid got vocals?
L.A. Reid was the producer. I mean, he was singing.
Got you.
He was singing. I don't recall if he sang lead, but he was playing the drums and, you know, producing and all of that. Yeah, so
that's what it is.
Shout out to them. We love it. So listen, we were talking about Michelle Obama, and I wanted to get to a comment in the chat before we go on really quickly. She was on Sophia Bush's podcast, and basically what she said was that she is currently prioritizing herself. She said that she reviewed her schedule for the year and decided not to do or attend things simply because others felt that she should. She said that they couldn't even fathom that I was making a choice for myself. They had to assume that my husband and I are divorcing. She added that this couldn't be a grown woman just making a set of decisions for herself, right? That's what society does to us. If it doesn't fit into the stereotype of what people think we should do, then it gets labeled as something negative and horrible. So, in the chat, right, Charles D says, being an adult means doing things you don't want to do because they need to get done. But what I want to ask you, and I agree with that sentiment, but are these things she needed to do? At this point, she is no longer the first lady. We are in our third presidential cycle since she and Barack stepped away from the White House, right? 12 years. Well, no, we're 9, but you get the idea. It's no longer a necessity per se. She has a right to have her life. She gave us 8 years, as did he. And on the other side of that is she was not the elected official in that relationship. They're solid. They present a united front. So, I mean, much like you and your significant other, after a certain amount of time, do you necessarily go everywhere with them? Is it necessary? sometimes they got it and they're okay with you, doing whatever you have to do that day, that time period. I just think that sometimes we don't realize that these are real people in real situations, and it is an unimaginable amount of pressure to be in that role, especially as a Black woman. So reclaiming my time, all of those things, it's okay. And it doesn't mean, divorce, the end. People can live full round lives together as well as independently of each other and still be together, right? And I don't know, we just should relax and give them a little bit of space, right? Right. So shout out to Michelle Obama and her podcast movement. So your guy Neo, he's further explaining his polygamy lifestyle. And here's the thing. Of course, he says the typical thing, but of course, this is probably only something that a man with means can say. He says that while he has his 4 girlfriends, and if you recall, he spends a week with each one, and then the final week of the month, they all spend together. His girlfriends can't have other boyfriends. They can't date other men. They have to just be there for him and maybe each other, but just for him. And he says that he is not holding them hostage. He is not forcing them to be in the situation or the relationship. So basically, if they don't like the rules, kick rocks. Andy?
You're not around one of your chicks for 3 weeks, right? He's dating 3 or 4?
I think it is it 3 or is it 4? I feel like there was a new one added on and then another new one that was like his backup dancer.
Okay, well, let's just say 3, right? So you say, or he says that he sees each one once a week, right? Or a week.
Mm-hmm.
So a week out of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say for 3 weeks, one is not being seen.
Right.
Man,
crazy.
I mean, I'm just saying,
insanity.
Don't think that they're probably not engaging with other people. I'm gonna just say for 3 weeks, and I don't get to see you. You supposed to be my boo. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, Neo. It's a lot of overcompensation with him.
I mean, it's certainly, if they like it, I love it. But, there are some questions. When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. Charles D., I'm going to read your comment and get back to you, plus more comments from the YouTube chat. All that and more on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ride with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Providence, health equity is the foundation of our community health initiatives, ensuring care reaches those who need it most. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in America. African Americans face a higher risk of life-threatening issues like hypertension, the #1 cause of stroke. 55% of Black adults have high blood pressure. The good news is 80% of heart disease is preventable with healthy lifestyle changes and patient-centered care provided by the Providence Heart and Vascular Institute. From routine screenings to advanced procedures, Providence provides comprehensive care for the heart conditions that overly impact our community by ensuring patients receive treatments tailored to their needs. Let's stop the trend of being 30% more likely to die from heart-related problems. Take charge of your heart health with world-class cardiologists who deliver the compassionate care you deserve. Visit providence.org/SoCalHeart. That's providence.org/SoCalHeart to request an appointment.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small, loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. And so we were discussing Michelle Obama, and there was a comment in the chat. So I wanted to give light to his commentary because he is coming at it from a different perspective, and we share all perspectives here. Charles D. said, to be married is to become one, not divided, but equal in strength and spirit, right? So yes, it is, but does that mean that in modern times, you have to move as a unit in not trivial matters, but in formalities, right? Her showing up says what when she is maybe not necessarily the main attraction? This is not something that impacts their relationship. It is not as if Barack is running for a position at the moment, nor is she. There is no public perception from that perspective to protect. He does not need her there in that capacity, I feel, right? I'm not saying she shouldn't support him. I'm not saying she never has to go. But if she wants to take some time for herself after giving, multiple years, as she discussed in her memoir, to her husband and his ambitions, I feel as though that's okay. And that it doesn't mean that she's being selfish. It doesn't mean that she is not respecting the position that they have been in. I think that on the flip side of that, she very much is. And taking some steps back to reacquaint yourself with who you are outside of all of that is important. Charles G. said, Jill, I agree. Assuming the Obamas are getting divorced is really a stretch. But you know how it is when you're in the public eye. People will always talk. Yes, they absolutely will. Morris Phillips says, when a man has more than one... Oh, this is about Neo. When a man has more than one woman, that man is putting in work. As I said, a man with means. I mean, he's seeing one a week, and then he said, at the end of the month, they all get together for a week, and, whatever. He's putting in work. I mean, some type of work, financial. I do not believe that it is popping off like that all the time. It's not. It's not.
I just don't. As a man dealing with y'all, ladies, to deal with multiple and your needs, your emotions, Brother Neo, I'm praying for you. You seem to be happy. You seem to. But I don't know. That is a lot of work.
I mean, because here is the thing. You have 4 currently. 4. How many do you really need and require? I just, when I hear, and I'm getting off into Zoe Williams territory, but
I was just about to say that.
But
speak on it.
All I'm saying, Zoe's somewhere around here. He could pop in if he likes. But what I'm saying is Neo, Nick Cannon, even Tyreek Hill, Ant Edwards, Lil Zion, what are you guys doing? Right? Because I'm not saying that I don't understand the attraction, the idea, the desire of multiple women. But it gets old. As Andy pointed out, it's a lot of work. It can be draining. Just, keeping multiple personalities happy. Dealing with whatever. And I understand he has money, and yeah, that kind of makes different rules. But at a certain point, too, you get tired of giving the black card, or saying, here, go buy a purse. And at a certain point, going shopping and buying that stuff is really not as entertaining as you think if you're doing it, which I don't know if he's cashing out all of those women in that regard. I don't know. Seems like it is more for an image lifestyle thing because he couldn't commit, but I don't know. It just seems a little ridiculous.
This is definitely not helping his image. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't.
I mean, I think he would rather be thought a player, a man about town than a two-time. Well, he was engaged to the first woman, I believe, and then married to the second. Cheated on both multiple times. Do you know what I mean? There was things involved with the first fiance where they said that he, said he didn't want any more children, so she got her tubes tied. Then he went on to have more children, and so I think if we're choosing, he would rather look like I'm just a player, I just love ladies, than I'm trashing these women's life and leaving them with children.
I can respect that and being honest about that too, because I think a lot of us men, if we want, a lady or a woman, we try to put our best foot forward sometimes, and we do maybe suppress, what we really want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we want you, but we don't want necessarily the whole shebang.
The whole thing that comes with the you don't want the responsibility.
I don't like that term, responsibility.
I mean, but it is, there's an accountability that comes when you're in a relationship, right? To the other person.
Absolutely.
There's communication styles. There are certain things that go along with these things.
Yeah.
So, Morris Phillips says Shaq is doing the same thing. What I think is that these men desire intimacy, but not the responsibility that goes along with having to be held accountable to one woman and having to show up for her.
Because the way y'all hold us accountable, I swear y'all be tripping. Y'all be tripping. Like, y'all be creating scenarios in y'all head that is not even true, and y'all say that, oh, this is my intuition. Nah, homie, you was watching Forensic Files all night last night. You fell asleep to it, and subconsciously it done messed with your mind.
That sounds like that's from experience, Andy.
I mean, come on now.
You've been through some things.
I mean, of course
it happens.
I'm in a relationship, so it's just funny. It's interesting.
It's interesting. Listen, I again, if you like it, I love it. Do as you when all parties are aware, fair exchange is no robbery, that you are not being misled. That is what it is. And should you choose to indulge, if you catch feelings, you knew what it was. You knew the job was dangerous when you took it.
It would be nice to hear from his girlfriends just to see their perspective. I'd like to hear their perspective.
They've popped out on social media and said stuff, but it's always one. I feel like this is the early stages of it. So it's all fun. It's an adventure. It's an experience. And one thing about us people, men and women, we love an experience. Now, do we want that to be our reality? Those are two different things at times. So, we just have to see how it moves along, see what takes place with it. Okay, one more thing before we get out of here tonight. The trailer for the new season of Basketball Wives has dropped. Comes on May 5th on VH1. And people are buzzing about a scene that shows Jackie Christie, the OG basketball wife, Doug Christie's wife. Is Doug still the head coach for the Sacramento Kings right now? Or did they find somebody else?
I think he's still interim status.
He's still interim status. Yeah. Believe the Kings are going to be in the play-in, right? And, but right now he is an NBA head coach. Well, in the upcoming season of Basketball Wives, Jackie and their daughter, Chanel, are both on the cast this season. And there's a scene showing Chanel and Jackie not just arguing, but getting physical, where Chanel pushes her mother, and it looks like Jackie cocks back, about to hit her, but of course it cuts off because it's a trailer. However, the streets are buzzing and wondering, is this a good look for Doug, who is now in position to potentially take over for the Kings? They've done extremely well under his current tutelage. So is it a bad look for his wife to still be on reality TV where they throw drinks and, toss things around? That is the question that is being asked on social media. So, leave it in the comments for me. Hit me up on social media and let me know your thoughts. Thanks for liking in. We, of course, are here every Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m., right here live on KBLA Talk 1580. Your front row seat to the culture. I'll check in with you tomorrow. Have a great evening.
Abstract, you know my sticky D in here. Get on and swear it's yeah. But yo, your girl just moved to the joint in the club in the car for crew. Bruh, look, the movement is on. Mal-mannered mommies and Victoria thongs. I get my rhyme on dust, guaranteed to make it right if your night is a bust. You vibrant and you fresh and all, original to say the least, and you impressed. Come on. Rappers start then they stall, finding it very hard to make it over the wall. Hey, get your weight up, my motto you heard. Then I go to death here to felonious words, So girls move it around. If you see your main dog, give your brother a pound and just breathe and stop for real and give it what you got and just breathe and stop for real and give it what you got and give it what you got and give it what you got.